There's been a lot of talk about the power of storytelling and how stories engage people and can influence their behaviour. But is there any evidence to back it up? And if stories are some kind of power tool for communication, then what can science tell us about the difference between a story that falls flat and one that inspires people to take action? I'm Simon Oates, and I'm going to tell you the story of a biologist who became a storyteller, who then worked with the Pentagon to answer these very questions. In 2005, Kendall Haven was working with NASA, running a workshop on storytelling for their outreach writers. These are the folks that write about NASA's cutting-edge research for a general audience. After the workshop, he was approached by one of NASA's directors who said, "That was a very interesting workshop, Mr. Haven, but that's not how scientists write." And Haven replied, "I know that, but this is a better way." And the director said, "I'm a scientist, Mr. Haven. Prove it." Well, that's exactly what Haven set out to do. Over the next 2 years, he did a massive literature review of over 1,500 articles and peer-reviewed papers from 16 fields of science, from neuroscience to psychology, in order to prove that storytelling is the best form of communication. And his work caught the attention of the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. If you don't know the name, you know their work. They invented the internet. DARPA is the research wing of the Pentagon. They invited Haven to join a team of scientists on a research project called Narrative Networks, which looked at how stories can influence behaviour in a target audience. The research involved testing the impact of stories on various audiences while monitoring brain activity and changes in blood chemistry in response to the stories. One result of all this was an equation. This is the story influence equation. What it predicts is the likelihood of a particular story influencing a target audience to take a desired action. And DARPA has claimed that they can predict this with 80% accuracy. An equation for how stories make people do stuff? Seriously? Well, let's take a look at what we know about how stories affect the brain. Brain scans of people receiving information in the form of data or fact mostly show activity in the parts of the brain that process speech. No surprises there. But when people receive information in the form of stories, their brains light up with activity in the whole of the sensory and motor cortexes. Now, these are the areas where we process sight, sound, smell, touch, and motor activity or action. And critically, they also activate the limbic system at the center of the brain. And this is the part of the brain that processes emotion, motivation, and behavior. So how can stories have this kind of impact? Well, it turns out that what we call story is not just the thing that we share with each other or binge on Netflix. In fact, story is a fundamental structure of cognition, and it's the same structure that we use to frame our perceptions and guide our behavior. Now, just telling a random anecdote is not going to get this kind of empathic, active response. Effective stories have a clear structure, and that structure has 6 key elements. Element 1, characters. Stories are about people your audience can identify with and share their feelings as they go along their journey. Element 2, goals. The characters have clear, concrete goals and an important motive for achieving them. A motive that connects with your audience's values. Element 3 is problems, the dangers and challenges that get between the characters and their goals and create excitement for your audience. Element 4, struggles. The actions that the characters take as they overcome obstacles on the journey to reach their goals. And element 5, resolution. What happens at the end of the story? Do the characters achieve their goals? And critically, how do they feel about it? And finally, element 6, details. Great stories are told through specific concrete images that light up your audience's sensory cortex and fire their imagination. By skillfully applying the science and the 6 elements of great stories, you can share your message in a way that captures people's attention, connects with their hearts and minds, and inspires them to take action.